Hello everyone. Today I'm fishing with at least one, maybe two super cheap bargain basement Tenkara rods, or rather Tenkara rods. These are not really Tenkara rods, these are cheap, but some people do use them for Tenkara for trout fishing in mountain streams. Let me show you the first one I'm gonna fish with today. This is the Breeze by, I'm gonna say Goture, Goture, G-O-T-U-R-E. It's kind of long. It's definitely not a traditional looking Tenkara rod, as you can see by this funny little handle here, and kind of got some artificial bamboo joints in the rod. It's a weird rod, but there are a couple of reasons I wanted to try out this rod. First is that it's just cheap. I think this was $19 or $20 on Amazon. I'll put a link to the rod in the video description. And then on Amazon, the first review you see, the top review you see, is just effusively praising this rod, saying that the fit and finish of it is better than high-end Tenkara rods, it fishes better, it looks better, and they specifically call out dragon tail Tenkara rods. This rod is better than that. I have several dragon tail rods. I know what they're like. I have fished with others that I don't own, so you know, I'm familiar with that brand in addition to other rods. Like I have premium Japanese rods. I have 9 Tenkara rods, and so I have something to compare this to. And so we're going to compare this rod. And then also on the Tenkara Reddit, the subreddit, which I frequent, I see people recommending this rod, and I saw someone just the other day say that the quote was something like, "I've heard that Goture uses the same blanks as premium Tenkara rods," like the same, like the rod itself without all the, you know, the coloring and the handle and everything like that. The rod itself is the same as premium Japanese Tenkara rods. I can dispel that right now. That is certainly not true. I've taken this rod out in my house and, you know, flicked it down the hallway, just wiggled it a little bit, and you know, looking at it, it is, I don't know how anyone could confuse this rod with blanks from another company. It doesn't even look similar. Like the material doesn't look anything like what you would find on real Tenkara rods. So that's just a silly notion. It is absolutely not the same blank as premium Tenkara rods. But how does it fish? I don't know. Let's find out. So this is a 12-foot rod. I think there are different versions, but this is the 360 centimeter version. It is a little bit windy today, so that'll make things a bit tricky, as it always does. I have not even cast this, not even in my backyard or anything, so let's try it out. Okay, it felt, well, I have opinions even after that first little cast, but let me fish with it a little bit more before I really let you know what I think. So I'm fishing a 12-foot line with a yarn kebari, yarn stiff hackled fly. I don't remember the name of this yarn, but I'll put a picture of the fly here on the screen, and I will put a link to the yarn on my flytyingyarn.com website, so you can buy this yarn if you want to and tie your own flies with it. I have fished this creek before. Oh, got one. All right. I was gonna say, I have fished this creek before and it has brook trout in it. I think that's the only thing I've caught here. And sure enough, that's a brook trout. Pretty little brook trout, skinny fish. Got one. Another little guy. Whoa. Okay, let's see, what is this? It's probably a brook trout, but I want to make sure. I want to double check. Yep, that's a brook trout. Got one. This one's a little bit bigger. Nice little fish. 7 7 inches maybe. Okay, so that was the third fish I've caught. Third fish I've landed. How do I feel about this rod? Well, people who say that it's better than something like a dragon tail rod, I mean, you're just being delusional. In no aspect is a dragon tail rod worse than this rod. Having said that, I mean, this rod is, you can fish with it. Like it's fishable, you know? Like I'm getting fly first casts. I'm landing fish. You know, I'm casting pretty decently with it, to be honest. And so for $20, I mean, that's pretty good for 20 bucks, you know? The main problem is that the balance is wrong. It doesn't feel good. Like you can fish with it, you can cast with it, you can catch fish with it. But under no circumstances would I grab this rod over any of the other rods that I own. It feels heavy in the hand. And when I think I've mentioned this in videos before, but when I say heavy in the hand, I'm not meaning that it, like in absolute terms, it's heavy, because it's actually decently light, but the balance is wrong. It doesn't feel light. It's work to cast this rod. Whereas if you get a nice Tenkara rod, casting is much more enjoyable. The rod doesn't feel heavy, even if it might in fact weigh more than this rod. If your budget is $20 and you cannot go any higher than that, and you want to do some Tenkara style fishing, then sure, go for it, you know, knock yourself out, get this rod, and have fun. It's a surprisingly good rod for what it is, but it's not a great rod. It would be interesting to try to catch big fish with this rod, but there aren't really big fish in this creek. But I'd be interested in knowing how it could handle a 13, 14, 15 inch fish. Got one? Yes. It's a little 6-inch brook trout. Well, I realized that my microphone wasn't plugged in, so I don't know how the audio is going to be for a certain chunk of the video thus far, so that's kind of a bummer. Also, I wasn't happy with the fishing on that other stretch of creek. I'd never fished that stretch before, and it was just too slow, not enough fish for my liking. So I've driven to a different section of the same creek that I have fished before. We're gonna see if it's any better, and hopefully at least we can get another couple of fish in. There we go. Oh. Got another one. Yeah, definitely a good move to move locations here. Little brook trout, 5 inches. Ooh, just saw a fish rise over here. Let's get him. Got him. Oh, had him. Got another one. Got him. Got one. All right, this will be the last one for the day. This is fish number 26. Fish number 26 on this $20 Amazon rod. The more I fished with it, the less I hated it. It's not terrible. Like, I've fished worse, super cheap, you know, sub $20 Chinese rods before. This is the best one of those, I think, that I've fished. It's not as bad as I felt it was when I first started fishing with it. It's not a great rod. Like, it's not as good as as a $100 dragon tail rod, for example. But if your budget is $20, you know, you really could do worse than this. Obviously I caught fish with it. You know, again, I would never choose this over one of my other rods, but if you want a backup rod or a loaner rod, and if you're on a strict budget, or, you know, if you do want a rod for kids or someone else in your family or whatever, sure, get a couple of these and have fun. Just know that it does get better than this. It gets significantly better than this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and again, I'll put a link to this rod down in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.